Good evening. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel. As I continue on my part series, the professional sports teams that didn't win a championship during that season. This is the professional sports teams that didn't win the championship during that season. This is part 47. Now we're talking about a new decade of baseball teams that I felt should have won the championship, but they didn't. We're gonna start with 2010, the year 2010. That's the beginning of the new decade. The previous decade that just ended. Now we're in 2020. I'm gonna talk about Philadelphia Phillies. They were a team that was definitely on a great run. They won the championship in 2008 in baseball. Then they went to the World Series in 2009, lost to eventual champion New York Yankees. They could have went to the World Series again in 2010, but they lost to the eventual champion San Francisco Giants, who were going to win the championship and beat Texas 4-1, World Series. They lost to the San Francisco Giants 4-2. Philadelphia was the #1 seed. They had, let me see, the best record in baseball. Best record in baseball, Philadelphia Phillies. But it was all for naught. They lost to the San Francisco Giants. They went on to win the World Series, despite the having the best record in baseball. That's why they're the subject of that year. Now, they were the two-time National League defending champions. They appeared in the last two World Series at that time in 2008 and 2009. They had won their fourth consecutive National League East championship and also finished with the best record in baseball. They swept the Cincinnati Reds in the divisional series, but they lost to the Giants in 6 games. So let's look at, first and foremost, the players that were on this team that stood out. Obviously, you have Brian Howard on the team. Same nucleus. Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins. Let's see. Trying to find out. I'm going to look at the stats first. I'm going to look at the stats before I get into the NLCS matchup. Cole Hamels. This team was loaded. Carlos Ruiz, Roy Halladay. This team was good. Jason Worth, Shane Reno, Raul Banez. So this team was good. They were loaded with talent. They lost to the eventual championship team and the Giants. Let's look at this championship series. Now the Giants beat the Philadelphia Phillies in 6 games. They went on to win the 2010 World Series, and the Phillies had the home field advantage, but didn't pan out. So let's look at it. Again, the Giants were going to defeat the Texas Rangers in 5 games. So let's go. Game 1, San Francisco beat Philadelphia 4-3. And San Francisco took care of home field advantage in terms of taking it away from Philadelphia. Tim Lincecum was the pitcher. Roy Halladay was the other pitcher. So the Giants jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the top of the 3rd inning on a Cody Ross solo home run. Halladay's first hit allowed in the postseason. The Phillies quickly tied the game up in the bottom half of the same inning on a home run from catcher Carlos Ruiz. The game remained tied until the top of the 5th when Ross belted his second homer of the game with another solo shot, giving San Francisco a 2-1 lead. The Giants extended that lead to 4-1 the following inning on a string of 3 2-out hits, namely a single by Buster Posey, a double by former Philly Pat Burrell, and a single from Ron Uribe. So in the bottom of the same inning, the 6th, the Phillies closed the deficit to 4-3 on a 2-run blast by Jason Worth. Lincecum and Halladay then each pitched the scoreless half of the 7th before turning the game over to their respective bullpens. Southpaw Javier Lopez retired the first 2 Philadelphia batters of the 8th, then handed the ball to Giants closer Brian Wilson, who recorded a 4-out slave, striking out Shane Victorino to end the game. Game 2 was a must-have for Philadelphia, and they definitely held their business. They won 6-1 behind the pitching of Roy Oswalt. In the first inning, Chase Utley walked, then stole second. Mike Frontenot misfielded Placido Polanco's grounder, and everybody advanced. Ryan Howard and Jimmy Rollins both walked, bringing in Utley for the first run. Oswalt had a no-hitter through the 5th inning until Cody Ross hit a home run, his third in 2 games. This was the 3rd straight game in which Ross's solo home run broke up a no-hitter. In the bottom of the inning, Shane Victorino doubled, then fly to third on the Utley fly out. Polanco's sacrifice fly brought in the second Philly run. Then in the bottom of the 7th inning, Oswalt hit a single up the middle that knocked Sanchez out of the game, bringing in Ramon Ramirez. Oswalt then advanced on the Victorino sacrifice bunt. Polanco then ripped a single up the middle, bringing in Oswalt. Ramirez was brought down and became generally a feld, struck out Howard, then intentionally walked Jason Worth. Giants manager Bruce Bochy then sent in Santiago Casillas to face Jimmy Rollins, and Rollins hit a 3-run double off of Casillas, extending the Phillies lead. The Philadelphia Phillies lead to 5. The 5-run lead, Oswalt pitched a scoreless 8th. He struck out 9 while allowing 3 hits and walking 3. So game 3 went to, now we in San Francisco now, as the series goes to San Francisco. And San Francisco shut out Philly 3-0. Matt Cain pitched against Cole Hamels. And both stars started out strong, dominating the first 3 innings. In the 4th inning, however, the Giants broke through against Hamels. Edgar Renteria led with a base hit right to right, was bunted to second by Freddie Sanchez following Buster Posey's strikeout. Pat Burrell's walk. Cody Ross ripped a fastball down the left field line for RBI single. Its 4th RBI of the NLCS. Aubrey Huff then singled off the glove of a diving Chase Utley, bringing in Burrell and making the score 2-0. Scored 2-0. So the Giants added a 3rd run the next inning when Aaron Rowan led off the inning with a double to the left and scored on a Sanchez single that fooled Chase Utley. So with a 3-0 lead, Matt Cain cruised through the Phillies lineup. In the 7th inning, he ran into trouble, was able to get Shane Victorino to ground out to Sanchez with the bases loaded for the 3rd out. Javier Lopez relieved Cain and tossed a perfect 8th, striking out Ryan Howard to end the inning. Brian Wilson closed out the game by getting Raul Ibanez to ground into a double play with 1 out, and Jimmy Rollins at first. Now the Giants had a 2-1 NLCS edge. Now we go to game 4. This is a must-win, obviously, for the Phillies. They got to even the series up at 2-2, but they didn't. San Francisco went up 3-1. They won 6-5 at the bottom of the 9th as Madison Bumgarner faced John Blatton. The Giants scored first, and Buster Posey lined an RBI single into the center field that scored Freddie Sanchez. Posey struck again in the 3rd inning, scoring Huff on a 2-out double over the head of left fielder Ben Francisco, increasing the Giants' lead to 2-0. The Phillies' offense broke through in the 5th inning against Bumgarner. Back-to-back singles by Francisco and Carlos Ruiz opening the inning. And Blanton hit a sacrifice bunt to advance both runners into scoring position. Sam Victorino then hit a single up the middle, scoring Francisco. However, Ruiz was thrown out at home plate by Giants center fielder Aaron Rowan. Chase Utley singled to right, and Santiago Casillas was brought in to face Placido Polanco. Polanco doubled in both runners, giving the Phillies a 3-2 lead. Ryan Howard was then essentially walked, and Jason Worth was hit by a pitch. Facing Jimmy Rollins, Casillas threw a wild pitch, bringing home a 4th Phillies run. Casillas finally ended the inning by striking out Rollins. The Giants got a run back on an Aubrey Huff single up the middle in the bottom of the 5th, which scored Andres Torres. In the 6th inning, Pat Burrell drew a leadoff walk, advanced to 3rd on a Cody Ross double. Paulo Sandoval came to the plate, appeared to double down the right field line, but the ball was called foul. 4 pitches later, Sandoval lined a 2-run double into the left center field gap, scoring Burrell and Ross, giving the Giants a 5-4 lead. The Phillies tied it in the top of the 8th with back-to-back doubles by Howard and Worth. Giants reliever Sergio Romo recovered and tied the next 3 Phillies batters to Strand, Worth at second. Going to the ninth inning, the game was tied at 5-5 in the top of the ninth. Giants closer Brian Wilson threw a 1-2-3 inning. So in the bottom of the ninth, Game 2 winner Roy Oswalt was brought in as a reliever. Sanchez lined out to right field to start the inning, but Huff single passed a diving Howard immediately afterwards. Posey fouled with a base hit to right, his fourth hit of the game, moving Huff to third with only one out. Juan Uribe pitch hitting in his pitcher's spot, fouled with a sacrifice fly to left field, allowing Huff to tag up and score the winning run. Now the Giants had a commanding 3-1 lead after this victory. Then now it's now or never for Philadelphia. They had to win Game 5, and they did. 4-2. They got down 1-0 in the first inning, but in the top of the third, they scored 3 runs, so they took a 3-1 lead, held on to it. Roy Halladay did his thing against Tim Lipscomb. It was a rematch of Game 1 in the NLCS. The Phillies struck in the top of the third with Paul Raul Ibanez single, and Carlos Ruiz was hit by a pitch. Halladay then bunted the ball, which dropped in the home plate area. The ball was ruled a fair ball by home plate umpire Jeff Nelson. Posey quickly picked up the ball through the third baseman Pablo Sandoval in an attempt to throw out Ibanez. Sandoval was playing shallowly in anticipating of the bunt, misjudged the position of third base while retreating to the bag, allowing Ibanez to reach safely. Halladay, thinking the ball was fouled, did not begin to run to first. Base after Ibanez was ruled safe. Sandoval had enough time to throw the ball to first base to retire Halladay. The replays on television showed the ball was in foul territory when Posey picked it up, which means it should have been ruled a foul ball. First baseman of the Giants, R.B. Huff, committed an error on a grounder by Shane Victorino, scoring 2 runners. Placido Polanco adds to the lead with a runner RBI single. At the bottom of the fourth with 1 out, Pat Burrell hit a double to the left and scored on a Cody Ross RBI double. Phillies relievers Jose Contreras and J.C. Romero combined to shut the Giants down in the 7th inning. Then Phillies middle reliever Ryan Matson pitched a perfect 8th inning, striking out Posey, Burrell, and Ross. At the top of the 9th, Jason Worth hit a solo home run off of Ramon Ramirez to extend the lead to 2. Then the closer for the Phillies, Brad Lidge, pitched a perfect 9th inning, so got his 12th postseason save of 12 opportunities with Philadelphia. Now it was still on for Philadelphia. They had to win Game 6 to tie the series up, force a Game 7. But San Francisco went on the road and won 3-2. Jonathan Sanchez had a poor outing for the Giants. In the first inning, he walked Polanco, threw a foul pitch to Chase Utley that advanced Polanco to second base. Polanco then scored on an Utley RBI double. Utley himself scored later in the inning on a sacrifice fly by Jason Worth. San Francisco rallied against Phillies. Started Roy Oswalt in the 3rd inning. Sanchez singled off his opposite number and advanced to second base on a long fly ball from Andres Torres that was dropped off against the center field wall by Shane Victorino. But Freddie Sanchez bunted the runners over to second and third, and R.B. Huff hit a single up the middle, which only scored Sanchez as Torres was thrown out at home by Victorino. So Huff took second base on a throw home, eventually scored on a throwing error by Polanco to tie the game at 2-2. Sanchez was still very wild with his command as he walked Polanco and hit Utley to start off the bottom of the 3rd. Utley flipped the ball back towards the mound, which led to Sanchez and Utley exchanging hostile words. There was a confrontation that led both benches clearing. No one was ejected as a result of the incident, but Sanchez was removed from the game, placed with Jeremy Affeldt. Affeldt was effective for the Giants, retiring the next 3 Phillies to end the scoring threat in the 3rd, then throwing a 1-2-3 4th inning. In the 5th, Affeldt was relieved by Madison Bumgarner. Jimmy Rollins single advanced to 3rd on a 2-out double from Ryan Howard. After walking Worth intentionally, Bumgarner got out of the jam by getting Victorino to grind out with the bases loaded. Oswalt got into a jam himself in the top of the 8th. When Cody Ross doubled and Juan Uribe was hit by a pitch, Oswalt got out of the jam by getting Edgar Renteria to ground to Utley, who executed the double play. Bumgarner faced yet another jam in the bottom of the sixth, as Raul Ibanez doubled to lead off the inning, was bunted over to third by Carlos Ruiz. Bumgarner then struck out pitch hitter Ben Francisco and induced a fly ball out from Rollins to end the threat once again. Finally, the Giants broke through in the top of the eighth when Ron Uribe, Ron Uribe hit a home run opposite field off Philadelphia reliever Ryan Madison. Tim Lincecum, who was the starting pitcher in games 1 and 5, then enters the game in relief role to pitch the eighth inning. Tim Lincecum struck out Worth, gave up back-to-back singles to Victorine and Ibanez. Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Giants, promptly brought in closer Brian Wilson for a 5-out save. Phillies catcher Ruiz hit a line drive right at Giants first baseman Huff, who caught the ball and easily doubled off Victorino at second to get out of the inning. So at the top of the ninth, Phillies closer Brad Lidge allowed 2 hits, an intentional walk of Buster Posey to load the bases, but escaped the jam without any scoring being allowed. Wilson was put out by Howard at first. Wilson got pitch hitter Ross Glow to ground out to start at the bottom of the ninth, but then walked Rollins to put the time around the base. Polanco grounded to a fielder's choice to Uribe, who threw second to force out Rollins. Utley then drew a walk, which put the winning run on first base. With the front full count and the runners moving on the pitch, Wilson struck out. Howard looking to end the game and send the Giants to the first World Series in 8 years. So that concludes a look at what took place when it comes to the part 47 of the 2010 Philadelphia Phillies, a team that represents the professional sports teams that didn't win the championship during that season. 2010 Philadelphia Phillies. It's kind of like the beginning of the end for a team of the magnitude of the Phillies, because now you start to see the Giants be in the midst of winning championships during the 2010s decade. You know, they'd be in the middle of it all at times during that mid to early part of the decade, the 2010s, where San Francisco was winning championships. But this is like the beginning of the end for the Philadelphia Phillies. So hopefully you enjoyed what I talked about, and support, like, subscribe, do what you can to support this channel and this video as well. So until then, this is Rashad Mitchell coming to you from my YouTube channel, and just continue to do what you can to support. Deeply appreciate it. And that's basically it, as far as I'm concerned. So that concludes this video. Until then, talk to you tomorrow.